And good morning, friends. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thank you for joining us. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. We love hearing from you if you have questions about health, nutrition, or prescription drugs. If you want to get off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you do that. If you have a comment or success story you'd like to share, if you just want to contribute to the conversation, we love hearing from you at 844-236-6010. So give us a call, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, you can call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470, or head to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can purchase longevity products off the sites or sign up to join the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $30 fee. You can be in business for yourself. Call 866-735-2470 for more info, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And take a look at our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com, or our 800-plus 4- and 5-star reviews at truthreviewed.com, truthreviewed.com. We have a good friend of mine, Lisa Singletary, Dr. Lisa Singletary. She's a medical doctor coming up at the bottom of the hour. Lisa is, in addition to being a friend of mine, she's also got a very interesting story to tell about her experiences with longevity and her transformation, the transformation she made physically and mentally going from the medical model to our nutritional model, and then physically from being very unhealthy to being quite healthy. She lost, I can't tell by look, she sent me her pictures here, and I can't tell, but she looks like she lost 50 or 60 pounds. And she is a big proponent of longevity products, has a great story to tell, and we'll be talking to Dr. Singletary at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls in our next segment, 844-236-6010. So we have been talking about this primary distinction between water-soluble nutrients and fat-soluble nutrients. You don't hear this distinction very much, but it's really critical to understand if we're going to be able to leverage our nutritional supplements and take advantage of the power of nutrition as well as the power of foods. Chemicals in general can be distinguished by their fatty or non-fatty nature. Some people will say polar or non-polar. Polar meaning pull. Water-soluble molecules have a pulling nature, a polar nature. They conduct, and this conduction allows electrical energy to move, and by movement, you create a pulling sort of effect. Lipophilic or fat-soluble nutrients are blobby, so we say they're non-polar. Lipophilic substances are non-conductive. That makes them great insulators. That's why nerve sheaths are covered with fats. Nerve sheath, the fatty myelin sheath, the myelin is a kind of fatty substance. The myelin sheath allows energy to be conducted between the insulation, within the insulation of nerve fibers. When the insulation breaks down, conduction does not occur as effectively or as efficiently, and diseases result. Multiple sclerosis is a classic example of a conductivity issue that involves disruptions in the fatty membrane. Various movement disorders can be caused by this disruption in the fatty membrane, and that's why using fats is really, really important for folks who are having nerve issues. And that includes brain issues, by the way. The brain is a fatty organ. The brain is largely fat. We're all fat heads. The reason the brain is fatty is because it's so darn electrical. It needs to have insulation. And that's why fatty substances are so important for the nervous system in the brain. We've always said that moms who want to have smart babies or want to have babies who have better hand-eye coordination or babies who want to have better nerve function will be wise to supplement with essential fatty acids, omega-3 essential fatty acids in particular. Omega-3 essential fatty acids are especially insulating, and that's why they're especially important for the eyes, and especially important for the brain, and especially important for the nervous system. A couple of days ago, we were talking about how you can use omega-3 fatty acids to protect cell membranes. The cell membrane is fatty, largely to act as insulation for the electrical conductivity within the cell. Within the cell, you have a lot of moisture, a lot of water. The inside of a cell, by the way, is called the cytoplasm. Cyto means cell, and plasm is the stuff inside the cell. And this cytoplasm is highly electrical, and the whole thing is insulated with a fatty membrane. When that fatty membrane is disrupted, cells do not function as effectively. And there's lots of things that can disrupt that fatty membrane. A couple of days ago, we were talking about how electromagnetic waves, EMFs, can disrupt the cell membrane. And this disruption in the cell membrane, this EMF-led disruption, EMF-caused disruption in the cell membrane, can be defended against by using essential fatty acids, especially omega-3 essential fatty acids. If you guys aren't getting the idea that you want to be supplementing with essential fatty acids regularly, you're missing one of the most powerful strategies in the entire world of nutrition. By the way, today I did my moment of truth on vegetable oils. You can get our moments of truth up, they're all up at on our Facebook page, The Bright Side with Pharmacist Ben. There's a lot of controversy, we'll say, about vegetable oils. Not really controversy. I'm causing the controversy because I say you should be using a little bit of vegetable oil. Not a lot. They're definitely problematic, and you got to be careful with vegetable oil. But vegetable oil, due to their, and this is true about all of nutrition, by the way, when you have something that's highly energetic, it has a good side and has a bad side. Vegetable oil is highly energetic. Remember, oils and fats carry electron clouds with them, electricity clouds, especially the oils and fats that are rich in essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids carry a really dense electron cloud with them, and that's good and that's bad. Electron clouds are sources of electrical energy. That's good, but they're very unstable. That's bad. So you got to be really careful. In my moment of truth, I said what I've been saying for years, and I've said on this program, is you want to have a little bit of vegetable oils. I know there's people out there, there's nutritionists out there who say don't use any vegetable oils. I don't buy that. And I don't buy it, number one, because of the logic. You need a little bit of that energy. But number two, because I've seen with my own eyes what supplementing with essential fatty acid-rich vegetable oils, or including essential fatty acid-rich vegetable oils in your diet, can do for you. And by the way, for folks who say you don't want to have vegetable oils, they might as well say you don't want to have eggs, because eggs have the same kind of fats that vegetable oils have in them. Now, one of the problems with vegetable oils, to be fair, is that human beings did not evolve to eat vegetable oils. The vegetable oils, concentrated vegetable oils, are somewhat of a recent phenomenon. The real the level of ingestion of vegetable oils really started to increase at the turn of the century when we developed industrial processing of vegetable oils. But we've been basically using vegetable oils for maybe a couple thousand years. Before then, we didn't really have vegetable oils. All our oils came from foods. All our vegetable oils came from foods. And when they figured out how to press things, probably a couple thousand years ago, maybe earlier than that, maybe 3,000 years ago, that's when we really started to get vegetable oils in our diet. And that's 3,000 years is obviously not a very long time compared to human evolution. For most of human evolution, we didn't ingest these high-energy oils, and that's where the problem comes in. That's not why you want to avoid vegetable oils, though. That's why you want to eat very small amounts of vegetable oils. See the difference? I'm not saying avoid them entirely. I'm saying use very small amounts. Use them medicinally. And always make sure they're fresh, and always make sure they're in the refrigerator, kept in the refrigerator, and make sure you're not heating with them, and you're not exposing them to air or oxygen. So fats, the distinction between fats and water-soluble nutrients, very important distinction, and it's based in the electrical nature of the two. We'll continue when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. We are back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Got lines open 844-236-6010, and we love hearing from you. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, anything we're speaking about here today, or if you have a comment or success story you'd like to share, or if you have questions about the longevity business or the longevity products, 844-236-6010 is our number. We've got Lisa Singletary, Dr. Lisa Singletary, coming up at the bottom of the hour. She's a medical doctor who experienced the let's say how shall I put it here, the unfairness and the unhealthy patient bias, non-patient bias of the traditional medical model. She experienced it herself with her mom. And as a medical doctor, instead of doubling down on the medical model, she rejected it, and she went into alternative medicine, and she started experimenting with Dr. Wallach's products and alternative medicine. And long story short, she's now a holistic health coach certified by the Institute of Holistic Health. And I talked to her a couple weeks ago. She was on one of the conference calls I did, and I said, Lisa, you got to come on The Bright Side and tell your story. So we'll talk to Dr. Lisa Singletary, MD, ABFM, MPH, MAT, CWHC from Baltimore, Maryland, at the bottom of the hour. And we'll get your calls. This segment, 844-236-6010. So this distinction, I hope nobody thinks I'm beating a dead horse with this distinction of fats and water, or lipophilic and hydrophilic, because it's really important to understand. It's not something you hear a lot about. We talk about it, but you don't hear a lot about it out there in the world. Healing is electricity. Healing is electrical. Health is electrical. Health has to do with the movement of electricity. When we're not healthy, electricity is not moving through our body effectively. The movement of electricity through the body depends on the ratio or the proportion of fats to water or water to fats, the relationship between water and the relationship of fats. By the way, there's a wonderful book called Healing is Voltage by Dr. Jerry Tennant, which is an awesome book that explains a lot about this idea of health being an electrical phenomenon. Voltage means push. Something has a voltage when it pushes. Something has a positive voltage when it's pushing. Something has a negative voltage when it's pulling out. Positive voltages are referred to as acids. Negative voltages are referred to as alkaline. And this is where pH comes into it. And between pH and lipophilicity and hydrophilicity and the flow of electrical energy, positive charges and negative charges, you have the major basis to good health. While we always talk about vitamins and we talk about protein and we talk about macro and micronutrients in the world of health, we don't talk about what they're all based in or where their power is based in, and that's in the electrical nature of the body. Healing is Voltage is an awesome book. Dr. Jerry Tennant was an ophthalmologist who developed his own brain health issues and healed himself using these concepts. He realized that his disease state was the result of low voltage, and he figured out how to make himself go into high voltage states. Electrolytes, by the way, are a major part of this whole idea of voltage. While lipophilic or fatty nutrients hold on to energy or act as insulators, the water-soluble nutrients, especially the ones when they're in water, act to conduct electrical energy. An electrolyte is a substance that contains electrically charged particles when it's dissolved in a water substance. By the way, another really cool book. It talks a lot about the electrical nature of life. This was written in the 1930s, actually, by a guy named Harold Saxton Burr, and this is one of my all-time favorite reference books on electricity. Dr. Harold Saxton Burr was a medical doctor. I think he was a professor anyway. I think he might have been a medical doctor also, but he was a professor on the faculty at the Yale University School of Medicine. For 43 years, he wrote this book in the 1930s or 1940s. Actually, no, I take that back. He wrote this book in 1972. And anyway, this book is all about electrical fields. The title of the book, Blueprint for Immortality, is subtitled The Electrical Patterns of Life. In the book, Dr. Berg talks about living organisms, about the measurement of living organisms using their electrical properties. In other words, living organisms have electromagnetic or electrostatic fields, and these electrostatic fields can actually be measured. And when we're sick, there's disruptions in these fields. Living is not a static affair. It's a quote, actually. The business of living is not a static affair. It is a moving, dynamic process. For this, energy is required, and it is the chemistry of biological systems which provides it. I'll say that again. Energy is required, and it is the chemistry of biological systems that provides it. The electrical energy of the body is formed by chemistry. Chemistry is what forms electrical energy in the body. That's why chemistry is important, but electricity is fundamental. Chemistry is important because it helps facilitate the movement of electricity. Nutrients, what we call the mighty 90 essential nutrients, as well as proteins and fats and carbohydrates, macronutrients, are nutritional to the extent they are electrical. All right, 844-236-6010. I'm going to have a lot more to say about this. We got Dr. Singletary coming up at the bottom of the hour. Time to hit the phones, 844-236-6010. Let's say good morning to my friend Mary in Oregon. What's up, Mary? Good morning. Welcome to the Bright Side.
Well, several years ago, an eye doctor told me that there was debris in my left eye, and I have this theory that it's a steroid lipofuscin that is floating there. And I heard you mention steroid lipofuscin recently, so I thought I would call you and ask you what you think I should do about it.
Well, lipofuscin is, they call it aging pigment. And under ordinary circumstances, the cells of the body have an ability to work with lipofuscin to actually deactivate it. There's organs, it's literally organelles, little tiny sub-organs inside the cell, we call them organelles, that act like incinerators for this lipofuscin substance, this cellular debris substance. Over time, these incinerators are called lysosomes, by the way. These little furnaces or incinerators don't work as effectively, and the waste accumulates. So if indeed you have an issue with steroid lipofuscin, steroid actually refers to a pathological issue. Lipofuscin is just naturally aging, but nonetheless, what you're dealing with is particles, dead debris, cellular debris that's not being eliminated correctly. So what's the answer? Well, you got a couple answers here. Number one, help the cells detoxify themselves, and there's lots of ways you can do that. And one of the most important things you could do is improve lymphatic drainage. Lipofuscin is drained out through the lymphatic system. When the lymphatic system becomes clogged, the lipofuscin particles accumulate. So moving the body, one of the best ways to improve lymphatic drainage. Slow, deep breathing, another great strategy for improving lymphatic drainage. Lymphatic massage is good. Drinking more water is good. Exercise is good. Hanging upside down on an inversion device is good. Dry brushing. Lymphatic dry brushing. You can YouTube lymphatic dry brushing, and they show you you can see some great techniques for doing that. All kinds of ways to improve lymphatic drainage. Then there's nutrients that you can use that will improve lymphatic drainage, and vitamin E is probably the most important, as well as lecithin, phospholipids from lecithin. Those can be helpful as well. And then making sure you're staying on the Mighty 90 essential nutrients so your cells aren't breaking down as rapidly, especially fatty nutrients. The aforementioned vitamin E is important, but also essential fatty acids. Both omega-6 and omega-3s can be important. And then making sure you're working on your fat absorption, the part of the digestive system that's responsible for absorbing fats. That would mean using digestive enzymes, bile salts, lecithin granules, probiotics. If you have any intestinal health issues, working on intestinal health. You're not going to target the eyes, Mary. And I'm not saying this just to you. I'm saying this to everybody. Because we have this idea we can target specific organs. That's not how it works. You want to target the whole body, and the body will take care of the eyes. All right, I hope that helps, Mary. Thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it. Got to move on. We've got a guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Lisa Singletary will talk to us about her personal experience as a medical doctor and also as an alternative health practitioner. We got Lisa Singletary coming up at the bottom of the hour. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on the archive page at benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that one up. You can also purchase longevity products by heading to my blog, pharmacistben.com or criticalhealthnews.com or brightsideben.com. We've got longevity products as well as news stories and blog posts. Lots of good health information, all free at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, silicone, vegetable oil, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want in any of our Truth Skin Health products, all formulated in my compounding pharmacy for healing wounds and burns and cuts and scrapes, preventing post-surgical scarring. Healing is beauty. That's the message. Healing is beauty. When you heal the skin, you beautify the skin. And if your beauty products are not healing products, they're not beauty products. And unfortunately, that's the way it is in the world of skincare. If you're interested in the best and only the best, check out our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. If you don't believe me, just go to our review page with over 860 4- and 5-star reviews at truthreviewed.com. Truthreviewed.com. All right, I'm looking forward to speaking to our guest, my friend, Dr. Lisa Singletary, MD, and also a lot of other certifications, is a medical doctor as well as a holistic health coach certified by the Institute of Holistic Health. And she's hip to alternative medicine and alternative health. She herself lost 85 pounds, got herself out of a wheelchair, and became a believer and a proponent in Dr. Wallach's message and Dr. Wallach's products. Please welcome to the bright side, my friend, Dr. Lisa Singletary. Good morning, Dr. Singletary.
Good morning, Pharmacist Ben. Oh, my goodness, I'm so blessed to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm blessed to have you here, especially after reading your essay, The Healer's Journey. You can't read the whole thing, but just tell us the highlights of it, because it's such a compelling message, and then we'll talk about some of these longevity concepts.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So, yes, I was born into a family of healers. My grandparents used to go into the woods, and people would come for poultices and tea and tinctures.
Where was this? Where was this?
In Maryland.
In Maryland?
Yes.
Okay.
And, I could identify some of the leaves and the trees, but we really didn't get the formulas. And my cousins and I rued the day that we let those secrets go to the grave with my grandparents. But I always wanted to help people, so I became a physician. I knew I wanted to help. I wanted to help people. I wasn't sure how, but, Marcus Welby was on TV, and he seemed to be helping a lot of people, and, he was all in their business and stuff. But, but he had an impact. And so I decided to go to medical school, and thankfully, I had a great mentor and role model even before I knew I was supposed to have one. My mother had multiple sclerosis, and her primary physician, that I know that terminology now, was her neurosurgeon, Dr. Jesse B. Barber. And Dr. Barber told me in an amazing and unusual moment of humility that my mother knew more about multiple sclerosis than he did.
Wow.
And that statement shocked me because the doctor's supposed to know everything, But he was like, she's living with it. And it was really a pivotal moment in my approach to my own study of medicine.
What did your mom think about multiple? I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll let you continue in a sec. What was her take on multiple sclerosis?
Oh, my mom. She was, if you could see her library, she was always searching for an answer. She was always, and she tried nutrition. She tried bee venom. She took probably 100 vitamin or, supplement pills a day. She sold Shackley. And so, just watching her, I learned a lot. But she never gave in. She never gave up. She was always searching and looking.
Okay, so continue with your story.
So I took the traditional path. I went to college, went to medical school. I got a degree in biochemistry. I did well in medical school. I loved medical school. In fact, I loved all of my whole education journey. Just learning things, intriguing things. But there was I got tastes of this alternative medicine world. It's like there's this world of knowledge that I don't know about. And I'm intrigued, but I better focus here, And then one day someone gave me a Dead Doctors Don't Lie cassette. Mm-hmm. Cassette. It was a cassette.
Okay. Back in the old days.
Right. And I listened to it, and it took my breath away that Dr. Wallach had all of that research and all of that information, all that knowledge. And I knew I wanted it, but I wasn't ready for it quite then. And so I just put it on the shelf in my mind. And I continued on my traditional path. But in family practice, which was the specialty I chose, I went to a convention, and they had someone there that was doing manipulation. And it was almost like a three-ring circus, the exhibits that they had. And there was an osteopath, there were chiropractics there, and there were, just the family medicine was just on the edge of admitting and accepting these different therapies. And I went to a session on the Feldenkrais technique. And
oh, wow. I've been reading about that.
It's like, and these little teeny changes, these little teeny bits of information that could change lives. And so I took bits and pieces of that back into my practice, and at this time I could. So someone that came to me with ingrown toenails, well, instead of doing surgery on them and causing them pain and them being out for so long, I said, look, file down the top of the nail, and I showed them how the arc, the arch of the nail held it into place, and you file down the top, that thins it out a little bit and releases some of that pressure, and put a little cotton ball at the corner of the nail and help the nail grow out, and it'll grow out normally. And, they did. They would come back and thank me and be like, yeah, great.
What would the medical strategy have been ordinarily?
Oh,
take the nail out?
Cut out a channel all the way down to the matrix, so that wouldn't grow out anymore.
All right, we got to take a commercial break. Lisa, when we come back, I want you to talk about your personal, how longevity helped you personally, and what you think about how it interacts with the medical model. We'll talk about that when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll get help. All right, we're back on The Bright Side talking to Dr. Lisa Singletary. Dr. Singletary, continue on with your story and tell us a little bit about how longevity helped you with your personal health challenges. And then I want to talk about how the longevity philosophy, how it relates to the medical model. If you can use the two together, if they cancel each other out, how they interact with each other. But tell us mostly about your personal story, your health story, that is.
Well, my story also is connected with my parents, because they were both elderly and invalids. My mom was bedbound, my dad was wheelchair bound, and I was the one that had to go home and take care of them. I didn't have to. My friends were like, "Oh, put them in assisted living, put them in," I couldn't. I don't know. And I know I added years of life to them. I mean, God did, but I know I noticed things about them that someone that didn't know them so well wouldn't, or didn't have the education I had wouldn't. I was able to nip a lot of things in the bud, and I was able to give them life, and more importantly, possibly dignity. And I'm so glad I did that, but it was at great cost. It cost me everything, including my health. And at the end of 8 years of taking care of them, I needed my dad's wheelchair just to get around the house. And wow, I thankfully had a friend that had been telling me over the previous couple of years about these minerals. And sure, it's nice, vitamins, minerals, of course, they're good, no problem. But, I'm living on a farm, we're eating well, blah, 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 blah. My hubris as a medical professional was in full force. Well, it was broken down a bit, because I knew medicine didn't have any options for me that wouldn't affect my kidneys or my liver or cause an addiction. And I love what you say about how natural substances work with the body as opposed to prescriptions that block things that are, toxins and poisons to the body. And that I was the decision to take one path or another was right there. And so I called her. I said, tell me about these minerals. I think I have to try them. And it was miraculous for me, getting me out of that wheelchair. I lost 85 pounds then just from BTT.
Wow.
I started with 7 scoops a day, and I've lost maybe 35, 45 pounds since then.
Wow.
Because I added the rest of the 90, and in January this year, I started the Keto 90 program, so I've lost 35 pounds just since January, and it's made such a difference in my life. And I'm so blessed that I could help not only myself, but I could help other people as well. And
how does all this relate? How does all this relate to the stuff that you learned in medical school with the standard medical model? Does longevity work with it? Does it work instead of it? Would you say to somebody who's saying, "Well, my doctor told me that this doesn't do any good, and I have to stay on my drugs"? Talk a little bit about how the two relate to each other.
Well, what I'd like to share is, what do the doctors do? And I was at a medical conference, I think it was in the last year, and there were about 300 physicians there. And there was a question, how many of you take supplements, vitamins, minerals, supplements? And I'd say about 85% of the hands went up in the room. Then the question was, how many of you prescribe these supplements to your patients? And you could count them on two hands. Big difference. So they're taking them for themselves, but they're not prescribing them. And I don't think it's out of any maliciousness, but I think malice, right? That's the word. But the system is tightening and tightening and closing to the point where I have a friend who's a pediatrician who I knew she would be interested in this certified health coaching, this health coach certification course. And I talked to her about it. She said, we just had a meeting the other day, and they gave us this big list of things that we cannot do outside of our practice, including, it was almost as if she felt forbidden to take this course. And I'm just so glad. I lost a lot when I left medicine when I did, but I know that I would be miserable if I went back into the system the way it is, because while individually, I used to be able to write prescriptions for patients, and I could write prescriptions of reading a certain song. I didn't get paid for that, but I didn't get in trouble for that. Now, if the patient said, and the patient wouldn't say anything to me, they would maybe say something to a nurse, right? The doctor was so nice, she wrote this prescription, and then the nurse would frown and report me. And I wouldn't even know who that was, where that came from. It's such an antagonistic system right now, and getting more so, I fear. So the knowledge is complementary. Of course it makes sense, make the body strong and prevent things from happening, and, prepare yourself for or give your body the capacity to deal with a crisis. But with technology, with all of these things bombarding our bodies, we're going in the wrong direction. So I'm thankful that there is another path. And I'm thankful.
Do you get a lot of heat?
Knowledge is out there.
Do you get a lot of heat?
Oh, yeah. I used to ask people, to either take a health survey, or I did the Zyto scan for a while. And we will support you when you go back to your practice. That was it. I was not worthy of participation on the planet because I had turned my back on traditional medicine. And there's still people that think that.
Do you see patients?
No, just clients now.
And then how do you integrate the longevity products into somebody's life if they come to see you as a health coach?
Well, I'll tell you about one person in particular who heard about me, wanted to consult with me. He had an accident, a car accident, and he had a seizure while he was in the hospital, and they were like, well, that didn't go with your injuries. He had a brain tumor. So they had to deal with his brain tumor. They gave him chemo, et cetera. It shrank. He went home over the year, but then it came back. Or something came back, a spot on his MRI or something, and they didn't know if it was tumor or scar tissue, what. So he contacted me and said, what should I do? And I said, look, no matter what you decide, I can't decide for you if you're going to take the chemo or the immunotherapy or what you're going to do, but I can help you make your body better. and stronger. And he got on the 90 plus the healthy dose of Z Radical and changed his diet. He was kind of going gluten-free, but he really tightened up on the 12 bad foods. And there was a journey, but he called me about 10 days ago. He said, "Doc, I had my MRI. I'm cancer-free. I'm free."
Wow. That's awesome.
So, you know.
Do you see, if people were to call you, like random people, they have a way of reaching you if anybody's listening to this right now?
The main way is if they go to drlisahealth.com, that takes them to my health survey.
Dr. Lisa Health. drlisahealth.com?
That will take you to my survey, fill out the survey, and you get all my contact information.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. Appreciate talking to you and appreciate your work. God bless you.
Thank you.
Lisa Singletary, Dr. Lisa Singletary, drlisahealth.com, drlisahealth.com. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side. That's all the time we have for today. Check out our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com for longevity products, truthtreatments.com for truth skin health products. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.